My name's Dave DeBow, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content.
Hey folks, welcome back. Today we got a special guest, Benson Juarez, very experienced real estate investor, been in the trenches for over 20 years. Also a realtor and a very tech kind of guy and a fellow podcast host, zooming in from Denver, Colorado, and we're going to be talking about all things real estate. So Benson, welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Thanks, Dave. Pleasure to be here.
So we're getting towards the end of September 2025 as we're recording this. Can you kind of zoom out for a second, give us a little snapshot of what day-to-day real estate looks like for you, Benson?
Yeah, it's kind of a mashup. Over the years, I was way more focused on deal generation, lead gen, and focused on that thing. And as my career has grown, I've got my hands in a bunch of different projects. And my sphere of influence has grown. And, being part of different masterminds and meeting really high producing operators has been a good influence on how I run my business. So now a lot of my deal flow comes from just discussions, talking on podcasts, talking to people, going to meetups. I'm going to an annual meetup this weekend here in the Denver market. And I plan on doing some networking there. So instead of like data-driven lead generation, I'm focusing more on content and relationships.
So when you say lead generation, what kind of leads are you generating? Are you generating leads for properties? You're generating leads for listings? You're generating leads for investors? What does lead gen mean to you?
Yeah, and this is another benefit of being in the industry for so long is that I can basically take anything and figure out which bucket it goes into. So I don't have to be so focused on just one strategy. Like somebody who might be a beginner, I can be like, you know what? If I don't know that one, I could pass it on to somebody else and maybe JV on the deal. But now I've got more buckets. So now my buckets are, I'm looking for multifamily properties for syndications. I started a fund in November. And I'm yet to do my first GP deal, but we're working on it. I've participated in several LPs or several deals as an LP.
Right.
Then several sort of single family transactions, fix and flip, buy and hold, wholesale deals. I still will take those when they come across my desk, but I'm not seeking out those kinds of leads primarily. And then also private money lending. So one of the arms of the fund is debt financing. And so I'm helping fix and flippers fund deals. In the last 2 years, I've been primarily just doing that out of an LLC, but now I'm trying to expand that and reach more people. And so that's one of the reasons why I started the fund. So part of the fund, the plan is to do some lending out of it for either transactional gap funding, helping fix and flippers and they're kind of just transactional funds. And then also, finding some multifamily properties that are too large for me or a couple partners to take down on a road.
Now, do you focus on any particular area? Are you sticking around Colorado or are you going further afield?
I've found that I've had to broaden my scope to find more opportunities. I was focusing locally to start. I just didn't have enough deal flow for it to be meaningful. So I've started to look at some other markets like Arizona. Oddly enough, I've been looking at some opportunities in like North Dakota.
Yeah.
There's some flourishing areas up there, especially now they're, considering doing some more, drilling. So those areas are really starting to need some housing. So I am open to other markets. But I think once I find a couple opportunities, I'll start to just dig down a little deeper and build a stronger foundation there. I'm open to what those markets are going to be, though.
Very cool. Sounds good. Now, Benson, one of the things that kind of perked me up when I saw your information was, I think you call yourself the REI hacker or something along those lines. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so that's the name of the podcast, REI Hacker. I suppose over the years I've become a bit of a hacker, and it's kind of a mixed bag of what it means, but it comes from the background of technology and a coder, right?
Mm-hmm.
They can hack into a system. They can find ways of getting into a system and making things work. We developed it into a way of showing how real estate investors can find solutions to different problems. So
have you created some sort of a software around that, or what does that actually look like? You've got the podcast, but you also have
So we have a software platform called Privy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a real estate investing software platform. We help real estate agents and investors more easily find and analyze deals using data. But most importantly, we track investment activity at a local level. And so we're in a business where comparables are king, right? We use comps to decide what the value of another opportunity would be. And so what we learned over the years is that in high investor activity areas, it's easier to find all the ingredients that you need to create a deal. And whether people believe it or not, they have more control over the opportunities based off of where they target. So in a low investor activity area, you're going to have less opportunities because it's the comps that create the deal.
Mm-hmm.
You could be in an area, let's say Dodge City, Kansas, right? Like there's probably very low competition there.
Okay.
But part of the word of competition, a piece of that word is comp. Without competition, you have no comps.
Right.
And so it's a double-edged sword, right? So it's kind of a balancing act because you don't want to be the last one to the party.
Mm-hmm.
You certainly don't want to be the first one. So if you operate someplace in the middle where you're tracking investment activity and you're using data to lead you to the right areas, no matter what your strategy is, whether you're doing on market, off market, whether you're doing direct to seller, or you're pulling leads from foreclosures, or you're going direct to agent, or you're doing MLS deals, you're going to find more opportunities because it's the comps that really make the deal.
Got it.
And so we just pulled some data this last week, and I'm creating a course for agents. Because what we're doing now in Privy is that we've got this amazing platform that really automates all the tedious tasks that you used to have to do every day to find and analyze deals. And we primarily focused on investors to start. But now we've got some partnerships like with EXP and some other brokerages. We're bringing in agents who are, tried and true, vetted agents that have worked with investors, and we're connecting them with our investor clients. And so this matching program is going really well. And so, for years and years, there was always kind of this weird tension between investors and agents.
Yeah.
And I don't know where it came from. But you ask an investor and they'll say, oh, I hate working with agents. And agents hate to have their time wasted by an investor who won't pull the trigger or who doesn't he wasn't upfront about, the way they want to fund the deal or something like that.
Yeah, they don't have the cash for the credit.
So our platform is now the core of an ecosystem we're building of investor-friendly agents, private money lenders, other industry contributors, and then the investor community all in one place. But this whole system now works together, driven by the data. And we pulled some data. What we found is because part of the course is showing agents that you can find good deals on the MLS. And right now it's about 40% across the US deals come from the MLS.
Really? Wow.
Right. And so there's a big misconception out there that you can only find deals off market or direct from seller.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also a positive correlation. It's over 0.9% between the amount of investor activity there is and the amount of on-market deals there are. So it's a low investor activity area that's low population or smaller with lower investor activity, they have a lot less on-market deals. But if you go to a larger market with higher investor activity, a lot of deals being done, you can find more deals on the MLS than you can if you went off market.
Mm. Yeah, that makes
so there's some cool things that you can hack, right? Going back to your original question about hacking and finding leads, data is an amazing way to do that.
Hey there, if you're a capital raiser, a syndicator, or a fund manager, and you're looking for a steady flow of incoming accredited investor leads, then go ahead, grab a free copy of my new book, How to Get 20 Accredited Investor Meetings Every Month Without Cold Calling, Networking, or Chasing People. You can get that at 20accreditedinvestorsbook.com. Again, that's the number 20accreditedinvestorsbook.com.
So if I synthesize what I understood you to say, Benson, is usually something like this, it really helps you find the markets where there's more investor activity. And in those markets with more investor activity, there is more opportunity. Kind of would have to have a balancing act there. You don't want to be in too crowded of a market, but you don't want to be in a market where you're the pioneer, where you're the only guy there doing it. So this software kind of helps people see where that sweet spot is. Am I understanding that more or less?
That's part of it, right? That's probably like phase one of the process, because in every market, a deal is different, right? So a deal in Denver is different than a deal in Dallas, and different than a deal in Tampa and or Phoenix. And so you're able to now do this local market research and see what the realities are of that market. Where, like, if you're in, say, Chicago, you might have to get a deal at 45% of the ARV for it to make sense financially. But if you're in Los Angeles, you go all the way up to 75% of the ARV, and the numbers will still produce a profit. And so understanding those local market distinctions is key to the success of an agent or an investor in that market. And there's really no other way that I know of to be able to see that than looking at actual deals. So I can see the last 20 deals that closed in LA. And I can see what they bought it for, what they sold it for, how much money they made, their gross profit. I can see before and after photos. If it's a flip, I can see who.
Dumb question. How do you get access to all of that information?
Well, there's multiple sources that we have to bring it from, and then we derive some of our own proprietary data.
Okay.
But we tap in a lot of the same data sets that others do, but we just have to put it together in a meaningful way.
Right.
And then you compare that deal in Los Angeles to a flip that happened in Southside Chicago. And then you can see exactly what a deal is there. And so it's really sort of empowering both agents and investors to see the differences and not use a universal formula for how they find, analyze, and submit offers on deals. Because more often than not, people are submitting lowball offers when they don't need to. So they're not even submitting offers that are going to be competitive with what other people are doing in the market, because they don't know what they're doing.
Right. Yeah, they're following they read a book, they took a course somewhere, they said, maximum 50% ARV, that's the highest you go to, or 35%, whatever the guru is they're following, and it's not going to work in all the different markets.
It won't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't. And so that's part of it. And then we actually got our patent in, I think it was late December last year, for a comparative search, which now takes all of that data that we are cultivating and creating. And we have an algorithm now where you push a single button that says, find similar deals to the ones that have been done in that market.
No. And
the algorithm will go out and find opportunities for you.
Nice.
And you can tweak it to fit your buy box. So let's say, it starts off at 70% of the ARV. And maybe you're in Chicago, right? And so you could lower that percentage and then add any other elements to your buy box. Maybe you want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1-story ranch in a certain area. You can create your buy box there. But what Privy is very good at is finding discounts. So we look at all of the deals. So this high investor activity area, if we see that a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1-story ranch is the ARVs are 300,000, and you say you need to get it at 50%, we're going to look for a bunch of properties you can buy for 150 or less. And then it's constantly monitoring these areas to look for properties that match your specific deal criteria. And then it emails you an alert every time a property's found that matches that. And if you're an investor, it comes directly to you. If you're an agent, it goes to the agent and the investor, and then they can work together on those deals and submit offers.
Very cool. How long have you had that software going for?
We've been doing it for about 10 years.
Oh, quite a while now. That's
over 10 years now.
That's
And
excellent.
the platform's grown, and what it was 10 years ago is completely different than what it is now.
I would
And now we're really we're tapping into this ecosystem of participants in the industry, from enterprise partners, large brokerages, hard money lenders, title companies, and then adding in the investors so that everybody can work together. And it's working out really well.
Very cool. So Benson, as we're wrapping up our conversation here, what are your plans for the next year and a half? Where do you see yourself going?
Well, we're going to keep developing this enterprise model. This is actually within the Privy platform. And then for myself personally, I've been consolidating my assets. I've been selling off all the single family assets, and I'm going to be putting that into private money lending pools, as well as backing up my LPs as a GP in some of these larger syndication deals.
Right.
So, the plan is to really just get good at that and leverage my network to bring in more people who want to participate in these opportunities that we're finding, because they're just too big for, one or two, people to take down on their own. So, we're always looking for people who are wanting to invest in real estate. Maybe they want a hybrid approach. They're actively maybe doing some things, but, they want to passively invest. Or those people that tried out investing. Maybe they tried to do wholesale, or they tried to fix and flip and didn't work out. They still know that real estate is the greatest wealth generator in the US. They just need a way of doing that. And that's where I think using a fund is a great way to invest that money.
Awesome, Ben. So if people want to connect with you and find out more, where should they go?
Well, the best way is to look for me on YouTube. I've got a great channel on there. That's where we find some of our guests. It was where you're going to see some of the guests we've had on the podcast. Podcast has been great. We've got everyone from successful real estate investors, mentors, coaches, people who run, software providers to real estate investors, fund managers, lots of really cool, guests there. And then we've got some really cool content education there as well. So just search for me on YouTube.
So just under your name, or under the name, what's the name on YouTube?
You can do Benson Juarez. There's not a tag there. It's just like some numbers, and, whatever. But Benson Juarez, or you can search the REI Hacker podcast.
REI Hacker. There we go. Awesome. Well, hey, Benson, thanks for being on the show. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Dave.
All right, everybody, take care, and we will see you on the next one.
Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewsyou.com.